Good evening, everybody. I hope you're well on this Thursday evening. Thank you very much for joining me. Actually, the weather's not so good, so if you did join me, you're probably avoiding the rain, having to walk the dog or something like that. So well done. It's pretty grotty out there. I think all over the place, isn't it? It's set to improve. I've been looking at the BBC weather app and it's set to improve. So fingers crossed. We will see. Anyway, let me get myself on my big screen. There we are. That's good. You'll notice I've got my quilt behind me and it looks incredibly dull. It's not. It's not a riot of colour, but it's really just gorgeous. In real life it's gorgeous, but it does look quite dull. But actually I think the yellow top goes okay with it, so I'm kind of forgiving myself for that. Anyway, I thought I'd hang it up so you can have a look at it. You know that every single piece has been sashikoed. I've used my Sashiko machine. I don't think you say Sashikoed, can you? Doesn't sound right. So it looks rather splendid when I've had it hanging. Let me just get me on my screen so I can see comments. And now I have to turn this down. Sashikoed, can you? No, you can't, Lizzy. So be quiet. Yes. So. Yes, I haven't found a place for it yet. I've had it on the back of one of my dining room chairs. I'm absolutely not going to put it on my sofas. Most of my quilts end up on my sofas because I just love being surrounded by them. The colours, the kind of the shapes, the inspiration, all of that. I love it. So a lot of my quilts end up on my sofas. And sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 on my sofas, but this one is not. This one is not because it's kind of special in so many ways. First of all, it's all the lovely Japanese fabrics, which are quite beautiful. And then, of course, it's all the sashiko stitching, which took me a long time. If I had, you know, just quilted it regularly, I don't know, crosshatch or Spirelli or something like that, it would have only taken me an afternoon. This took me about 4 days because the sashiko stitching with the machine is quite slow. It doesn't have to be slow. That's just me. I like to plunkety plonk, right? Because the needle and the not really the needle, but the setup of it makes me want to do it a little bit slower. So it did take me a little while, and gosh, you know, I had to keep putting my shoulders down. You know, I always say to you when you're doing free motion, mind those ears, because you bash your ears with your shoulders. So I was constantly having to forcibly put my shoulders down because I was concentrating so much, and my shoulders would go up like this. So oh dear. Yeah, thank you, Jackie, I appreciate that. And of course over the weekend, I'll tell you about that in a little while, over the weekend our lovely Jackie also bought some of those squares from Susan Briscoe, and she started making hers, and some of her fabric was completely different to mine. It really, I think when she puts them all together, when you put them all together, Jackie, I think they're going to really pop in places, pop here and a pop there, and yeah, I'm going to really look forward to seeing that made, because it's going to look similar to mine but so different because of these pops of other colours. It's very interesting that those packs have been put together like that. I think if you wanted more, I think Susan Briscoe has some. I think, I don't know, I'm not her shopkeeper, but I do believe she might have a few more packed in her van somewhere if she hasn't unloaded that from her last show. Anyway, I'll just see if I can refresh my comments on my big screen here. See if I can do that. I mean, who knows? It's not going to happen. There is a refresh button here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Banned from all live streams. Oh Lord, that's not me. No, I can't find it. It doesn't matter. You know that I can never seem to get that to work, which is fine, because I have my phone here. So all is good. Anyway, so we can say hello to Jackie and Maggie Elaine, Jane, Jill, Nicola, Kath. We've got Dawn is watching as well. We've got Polly-Ann. Do you know, Polly, I can't remember what your real name is. You'll have to remind me in a message. Still not hear the sun. Oh, very funny. A bit of a joke. We've got Marion, we've got Carol. Carol, I have literally put your daffodils away. Helen, Sue, Jill, Elaine, Sue, Karen. It seems ages since I've spoken to you all. I suppose it has been because we don't do these quite so often. It does seem ages. So we've got Joyce as well, Rosemary, another Jackie, Cheryl, Peter, Susan. Saw Susan at the weekend. Talk about that later. Oh, she has loads, Jackie's saying. Okay, well, you know, I have to say there are 100 squares in a pack, 4 inches round, not round, square, 10 centimetres square, and it's $12.99. Now, in my head, I'm thinking that's quite good. You may not think that, but I'm thinking actually $12.99 for 100 4-inch squares. It's quite good, I think. Tell me if you disagree. Oh dear. Hi Pat, Eileen, Michaela. Oh gosh, lots of people watching now. That's lovely. Carol says, has Abby a favourite flower? Yes. Bear with. It's the flower that begins with G. Not, I keep thinking gazebo. It's definitely not gazebo. Gerbera. It's gerbera. She had them, I think, when she got married. I'm going to say the second time. That's not quite right. Obviously, she got married, and then she had a marriage kind of party a few months later. She's kind of split them up. And on one of them, I can't remember. I think it must have been the party. I'm doing this out of my memory, which you know is a little bit hazy. I think she had gerberas for the actual wedding party, which was spectacular. Let me just tell you that. It was absolutely spectacular, and I'd like it if she did it again. Very much. So yeah, so here we are. We're all good now. Lynn's there as well. So lovely. Welcome to you all. And if I will try. I mean, comments at the moment seem to be behaving themselves. Who knows? I think I was listening to Gail Penberthy yesterday, it possibly was, when she'd come back from her Sewing Street show, and I caught up with her later, and she was having dreadful troubles finding the video, finding the comments. Honest to goodness, it really is a pain in the rear end. Anyway, Kath says, considering there are 42 5-inch pieces in a charm pack at anything from £35, well, yes, I suppose. I mean, obviously the Japanese fabrics are not quilting cotton. They're cotton, and they're textured and they're woven and, ooh, pretty delicious. They're not printed, they're all woven. Yeah, I suppose it is really. I don't give much thought to that. I suppose maybe I should. Right, now down below, you should see a pinned comment, which is the Helen bag, which is the new bag we launched today. I'm pretty happy with it actually. It matches my Maddie. I don't know if you saw the picture on my page, but I made a Maddie in exactly the same fabric. And the fabric, if I get me camera sorted for you, my fabric it's William Morris K Facet Colours. Right, I think I've got that right. Hi Melba. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I am not a fan of William Morris. Now, I know gasps I can hear from you all. I just don't like it. I think it's dull. She says, sitting behind a brown quilt. But no, I do, and I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry, but I'm a bright colour person. So when I saw this at the Cosy Cabin, I was immediately drawn to it because of the lime green and the pinks and the blues and delicious. And so I'm not thinking that is William Morris, and I'm not even thinking that is Kaffe. I'm just thinking that is such a beautiful fabric. So I'm sorry that you had to gasp then when I said that, but it's true. We can't like everything, can we? Can we? I don't think so. So this is Helen. Now, the reason why it's called Helen is because when I was away at the weekend, I went Friday, came back Monday, I was with all the admin team. So I was with Kath, Jackie and Nicola, and we were joined by Tricia, her mum, and her best friend Susan. Now, Tricia I worked with with Crafters Companion, so Tricia would do an awful lot of the sewing samples for Crafters Companion when I worked for them, and she's absolutely lovely. I loved Trish right from the moment I met her because we're just on the same wavelength, and it was just so lovely to catch up with her again and spend quality time. And the same with all the other guys, for, you know, Kath, Jackie and Nicola. It was just lovely to be in this exclusive little group for 2 or 3 days. It was quite special. But as you know, all day Friday, I travelled all day Friday and all day Monday. It was a long way. But on the way, you know what? I put the world to rights in my head. And when I saw Kath, I colluded with Kath, I think that's the right thing to say, because I was... had this in my head. I'd made a little sample, which is this one here, tiny little sample. You can see it's quite small in comparison, yeah, and I liked it very much, and I need to put poppers on it, but I thought, no, it's no good for us. We need something else, and I was wanting to do another bag, really to replace, or not to perhaps to replace, but to add to that family of crossbody mini bags that would take our phones or our dog bags or keys or whatever. And it's a bit like with Myra and Serendipity. There have been such good patterns for you guys that I wanted to do something similar but not similar. So this is similar but not similar. So it's a crossbody, it's got a small strap. You could always buy a strap if you don't want to make one. I've measured this at 56 inches, but you may want to adjust that because it sits on my hip. I'm only a squirt at 5'3", but it may be that's too long for you, maybe too short for you. So I would say adjust it. I mean, where it's attached to the swivels here, it's only a fold over and a stitch, so you could undo that and either add to it or cut it down. So it's dead easy to adjust. Start with 56, or get your tape measure and look at 56 and put that across your body and see if that fits you and suits you. You know, all of these things are adaptable, surely, aren't they? Yes, Jackie, it was lovely to spend proper time together without being rushed away to do something else, which is always the case, isn't it? Yes, so this is Helen. The link is down there, but underneath me is pinned. And we've got the magnetic closures here. You can put snaps in if you want. This fabric is... I will try to remember. If not, I can look at the selvage. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. It'll come to me, or I'll go and have a look at the selvage. I've got a lot of her fabric. Anyway, so you've got quite a big pocket there, and the reason it ends up quite big is because the way that it's been joined together. Do you remember our purse, Asher? Yeah, the double purse. Well, this is very similar in its construction. It's like two bags put together, and with the secret pocket in between, although I'm not sure I did that with Asher, but anyway, it's the same principles. I think with Asher we just joined it sort of in the middle, so it was kind of, there was no secret pocket, if you like, but this one is. So it's very similar to Asher in as much as you've got the two bags. So in actual fact, it kind of becomes quite roomy because you've got this kind of pleat there. I mean, it's not really a pleat. It's, I mean, it folds flat, but it's just, that's how it works. It's just, it was interesting for me to discover that. So you've got that pocket there. Oh, I've lost a popper. Oh, that's come off there somewhere. Okay, let me just pop that to one side. And then you've got a popper on the other side, or a magnetic clasp, whichever you prefer. I think I've broken that one off. We'll have to mend it. And again, you've got the same again. You've got, it kind of expands. And then of course you've got the secret pocket, which is right in the centre there, and I made it to fit my phone. Okay, my phone is a pretty standard phone. Let's have a look, see if I can do that without getting rid of the Facebook Live. I'm going to measure it because I haven't done that. So it's let's say 6 inches by, well, let's say 3. Okay, let me put it back and then I can get my comments back up again. Oops. All right, not big enough, Elaine. Now, that's good. Actually, that is a good comment, because you could easily upsize this. What I'd like you to do, and I've already seen one made by Carol Wee, is to make it the standard size. See how it's constructed. See what the trick is, if you like, to construct it. It's super easy to make. This is why I think if you're a crafts fair person, I think you could make a few of these and get rid of some of your stash. Once you've made this is about, I don't know, 6.5 by 5.5, I'm going to say, you could upsize it. Definitely upsize it. You just need the pattern first to figure out how it's put together. Then your world's your oyster, and you can make them wider and longer, and it'll fit, I'm sure it'll fit your bigger phones if that's what you've got, but also the fact that you'll be able to put more stuff in these pockets. Okay, and you'll see that this one can puff out as well, so I think you'd get quite a lot in there, to be honest. Definitely a pack of tissues, some keys, sweeties always. I think you would actually be able to put quite a bit in there, surprisingly. So that is Helen. So that's brand new. So there's been lots downloaded, so I really would love to see some made. We'll see. If you're busy, fair enough. We're going to talk about that later. So that is Helen, and I think the fabric is just absolutely gorge. So we'll just put Helen to one side. The other thing I wanted to do tonight was address something. Now, this is quite a personal request from Jeanette in Tasmania. Jeanette has been struggling, which you all may be struggling, with putting some of my butterfly patterns together. And you know, there's 3. There's a supersonic pieced one. I'm going to say supersonic. There's a lot of pieces to the big cushion. You can have it that way, or you can have it that way. Then you've got the needle case, which I'm doing the workshop for, which is kind of obviously the middle ground. And then you've got the simple one. This is the simple butterfly, and it all comes in sections, which I'm going to show you quickly. And what I thought I'd do tonight is just show you how to make one section up, just to try and sort of dispel the myth that FPP is difficult, because it isn't. You just don't want to be overthinking it. I think as soon as you start overthinking it, you've had it, because your mind will be all over the place. So I think we should just kind of tackle it head on. Does that make sense? And anyway, look, let's get started, because I could talk about it forever and we're not going to get anything done. So looking at the pattern, this is obviously the pattern, and we go to the back. First of all, you've got a quilt inspiration, which I thought, I don't think I'm going to make it, but I think there's a possibility that you could, even if you just do 4 blocks or 9 blocks. I think actually that could look really nice. And they I'm thinking they look like a little bit like kimonos. So yeah, it's like when you draw these things out, you don't see every possibility, you just see, oh, this has got potential. And then you've got the templates. Now, I was talking to Susan at the weekend, and about FPP, and I said, it's a good thing that you have templates. I always give templates only because my computer graphics program offers them, and having used them a lot, I find them incredibly useful. Making the simple butterfly, you might decide you don't need to have the templates, all right? But I am going to work with these templates tonight, just on one section, okay? So you've got 3 pages of templates, perhaps 4, perhaps I've skipped a page, whatever. Then you've got the diagram. Now in this diagram, I'm hoping you can see it fairly easily. Each bit, I don't want to say section because this is a section. Each piece, thank you, is a letter, has a letter, okay? So for instance, J, R and D, let's say, okay? Well, not let's say, that's what it is. And you'll have corresponding templates. Oh, there's J, look, there's J, and that's J. That's lucky. So every single piece has a template. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute, about what I was going to say about templates. But and so it's only those templates that you need when making that section. So for this section, it actually isn't A, because A goes all the way at the top. It's just this little bit here, and I'm going to do that bit because if I do that bit, you will all, if you've bought the pattern, be able to do everything else. Okay, this is. I'm going to say this is the most complicated. It's not. Well, it's perhaps the one with the most bits in, that's about it. But it's all easy peasy, okay? So you've got the drawing with all the letters on that relate to the templates, okay? Then you've got the sections. Now the sections are what you're going to stitch on, so all of these need cutting out, every single one of them. And whichever section you decide to do, so I'm going to say let's do that one. I don't think we are. We're going to, maybe, I don't know. I'll have a look. I think we're doing the other one, other side. You will have an exact repetition for the right and the left. An exact mirror image, exact repetition. Doesn't always happen in FPP, but in this pattern, the left hand side and the right hand side are identical. So let me get my colour picture of my butterfly. There we are. There is the butterfly, and we've got one long strip along the top and one long strip along the bottom, okay, and that's 2 separate pieces. But if you look here, there's a line going all down the middle, and that half is identical to that half, which actually makes using the templates even easier, okay? Well, again, I will be talking about that as we go along. So the first thing you would do is choose your section. So we're looking at the right side of the butterfly, okay? And we're going to choose a section to work on. And in the pattern, I help you by showing you what that section looks like on the line drawing and in the section piece itself. So this is the section you would cut out. Now, please do not compare to that. Just trust me that that section, this bit, that bit there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I can't get my rectangles to go any smaller. I don't know why. Is that section there. I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to question it. I don't want you to worry. I'm telling you that that's the section, okay? So by default, we know that that section is the other side, okay? Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? So that's the one I've cut out. That's the one we're going to make because that's the one that's in the pattern. And then all of these are identical, okay? It's all identical. I mean, you can see if I flip the pages, that is the mirror image of that, that is the mirror image of that, and that is the mirror image of that. So really, once you've done that, just work through these and then turn a page, cut these all out and work through those, okay? So there's not hardly any stitching with this at all. Maybe you think there is, but there isn't. And then you've got the long strips, top and bottom. Okay, so I showed you those. So really that's it. So what we need to do is to work out what templates we need for this bit here. Well, surprise, surprise, I've told you, use this side of the drawing for your template pieces. Now that is the opposite side to what we were looking at before. Hold on, bear with. So I'm telling you we're going to do this bit, but on here I'm telling you you're going to use these templates to create that bit. Okay, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to worry. I just want you to listen to Lizzy. These are the templates you need. So you need L, V, W, B. And if you look through your pages of templates, you've got L, V, B and W. All right, so they're all there, you just got to find them. Okay, good, good, good. Excellent. Is everybody happy with that? Is everybody happy? I don't want to go on until I know you're all happy. I'm going to zoom in just a wee bit so we can see a little bit better. Oh, that's quite zoomy. Right. So this is the section. Okay, so I've cut it out just to save a bit of time, and I've cut it out so you've got about 1/8 of an inch, and I say this in the pattern, you've got about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So your solid line here on the outside is kind of like your raw edge. Okay, so when you trim your piece down, this is the line that you're cutting against. Okay, not that one, that one. In some patterns, I don't know why this happens, but in some patterns that I create on my program, it's dashed. On this pattern, it's not. I don't know why, but assume it's dashed, meaning that's the raw edge, and that's what we'll trim down to. Okay, so we start off with the section. We've got the section pieces, which is B, W, L, and V. Okay, now then, these match this perfectly, but I hope you're listening now. But in actual fact, if you cut, let's say, this one with 2 layers right sides together, you get that section and the opposite one at the same time, because it's a mirror image. So to cut time down, I'm going to cut 2 of these with my fabrics right sides together. That gives me a left and a right. If you use solid fabrics like Modabella solid, something like that, which is it's been woven, it's not printed, then like batik, you can use either side, so it doesn't matter, it won't confuse you. And I've done this deliberately not to confuse you. You might already be confused and thinking, what's she talking about? Now with the butterfly, let me bring it in. I've used all one colour, and I think that really works very, very well. You may not want to do that. Okay, you can please yourself. You might want to add little extra bits in that are different colours or something like that. But just for continuity, I'm going to do the same again. All right, so I'm going to put my section to one side for a moment, and I'm going to pick out my 4 pieces of templates, my 4 templates, and I'm going to start cutting them out. Now then, so now listen, you can either do right sides together or you can do wrong sides together, but just so we keep it like I'm talking some sort of sense, I'll put it right sides together, and I'm going to get my template, and you could, if you wanted to, get your 505, spray the back of this and stick it down, but pin your layers, all right? And oh, I could have done my other scissors. Let me get them. If any of you, if any of you need some really good scissors, please get these. They're from Crafter's Companion, and they really are the best scissors ever. Right, so now listen, this is a template, which means you don't have to cut exactly on the lines. So if you're a bit wobbly with your stitching, it absolutely does not matter at all. So I'm going to deliberately oh, hold on, snip that bit. I'm going to deliberately not cut these accurately, okay, because there's no need. These are just literally templates. So there's two pieces, right sides together, okay. Let me show you. So now we've got the right side and the left side, or the left side and the right side, okay. So this saves a lot of time, which means that once we've made up our right side, left side, right side, left side, you can actually then go ahead and make up the right side, okay, because you've got all the pieces. Now keep them together so you know which pieces are which, and I'll just pop that to one side because otherwise I won't have room on my desk. And once again, although these are templates, pattern pieces, you do not need to cut accurately, okay. Sorry if I'm going off the screen, I'm quite near. So just hack away. What you've got is the shape, which is absolutely what you need. So there is that piece. You can see that it's not cut very well. That's absolutely fine. Like I keep saying, these are, although they're pattern pieces, they do not need to be accurate. So let's take the pin and pin that. Again, like I say, you could use your 505 spray, sorry, to stick the back of the template onto your fabric. And all I would do with that is to cut all your templates out, like I've done, and put them in a tray, spray them in 505 and let them sit for a couple of minutes. And again, look, I'm not being precious, they're not beautifully cut, that's fine. Look, this is your seam allowance. You've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. So that's that one. And then the last one, oh no, that is the, oh no it isn't, it's B, it's a square. Now, obviously you don't need a template really, but let's just do it anyway, because a square is a square is a square. But some of the angles that you need on the triangles, if you've cut them incorrectly, they won't fit so well, okay. You might be lucky and they do, but generally they don't. Right, so that's that. So what I've got is, I've got my section, okay, and I've got the square, I've got the little triangle, I've got the big triangle, which is the one at the top, and I've got the little one here. And you'll notice on my sections they're coloured in, so I know that these are all background fabric, and that's the only one. Oh, but that's the point actually, I've done it all in the same colour, which is ridiculous, but anyway. I've just realised what I've done there, because this is the only one that is actually the fabric. All of these are background, yeah, it's not actually that fabric, but we'll carry on, because it seems otherwise I'd have to dig around and get some more fabric. But the main thing is to put the whole thing together, okay? So out of all of these pieces here, that's the only one that's the actual fabric, and you know that because it's coloured yellow, because in my pattern it's yellow, and so the graphics program picks up on that and says, oh, I know, it's yellow. And so the pieces that are yellow, you know full well, are the pattern fabric. The rest will be whatever your background is. It could be black, white, cream, whatever you decide. But the main thing is that we've got all the templates there, all cut out, ready to go. Okay, are we all happy with that? Let's pop that to one side then. Gosh, I never even thought about the background fabric, so apologies for that. It's me trying to show you. So the next thing is you need to fold all of these pieces. So on the lines, I need you to fold them all. I don't need you to fold this line here, or that one. It's the lines within the section that you're going to fold. Okay, so we've folded the square, if you like. Let's fold the edge of the little triangle. And it doesn't matter that you go all the way across. See? Go all the way across. It does not matter. This is literally a fold, look. And then on this one, you're going to do the same again. So let's just line it up. Oh, moved it. And this is quite a crucial part actually. It really does help if you fold all your pieces before you start, so you can see, and that's exactly what you're seeing on the pattern, okay, that's the look, if you like. So the first thing we need to do is to place the number 1 piece under number 1. Does that make sense? And it's a square, so with our 2 pieces it really doesn't matter which square because they're both the same. So let's just take one out of the way, and we want to put this one, the first piece, and that's the same for every single section you do. The first piece goes right side down like that, okay, and this one goes over the top. So what you can see from overhead is that this is the square that I want. In actual fact, it becomes bigger, but let's just look at that square there. And I want to make sure that my square that I've cut easily covers that area. And we're going up to the line, aren't we? Let's be honest here, we're going up to the line. So it definitely does, doesn't it? Definitely does. So I'm happy about that. That's really good, isn't it? I'm happy with that. So you can pop a pin in there. I've got too many papas, and I mean that's not ideal. You want a flat-headed pin, so let's just do that so it doesn't confuse. Flat-headed pin is good, or you could put a little daub of EPP glue. Yeah, I don't get on with that particularly well with FPP. And the reason why I've got my pin going that way is because that is the seam there. That's my seam line. That's what I'm going to stitch, okay? So I don't want the pin anywhere near that. I'll keep that on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this fabric, sorry, we're going to fold this paper over. So we've got our crease line and we've done it. And at this stage, and I often do, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, you can trim that away to 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, okay? So you can use your add a quarter ruler, or if you want, you just go crazy and cut it by hand, okay? And you'll probably find that quicker. So you can see what I've done. All I've done is trimmed away, so I've got a little seam allowance. Now, we've folded this over, and the fold of the paper should always be on the right. Okay, you don't want folds of paper this side, you want it this side, okay? So the fold should always be there. So it doesn't matter which piece you're doing, on which section, that fold should always be there. So the next piece we want is the triangle. Now, let me get my pen, here. See if I can get a pen that works. Actually, a pencil might be better. If you use FPP paper, you'll see this much better than copier paper. I'm using copier paper because that's what most people have. And if you look at your folded lines, you will see the shape that we want to cover, which is this. And if you want to, you could draw that shape as I'm doing now, so you know when you put this one down, it's covered by your fabric, or your fabric is covering that shape. So the next thing we do is, well, we got 2, and this is a definite shape. I think it's like that, isn't it? So this is the section I want to go underneath my fabric here. I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's going to matter too much, but when you've got more complicated shapes like we're going to get in a second, it will matter. So we've got 2 pieces to choose from. We've got this one, and we've got that one, this one and that one. They're a bit creased, but they're both identical, but they're mirror images. And we want to cover that piece. So if I just move that, bring that under there, right side up, that fits on there. And although I've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance on my template piece I've cut, you can bring it up to 1/4 inch if you want to, because you've got plenty of fabric to play around with, or you can move it up to the 1/2 inch. So I could, if I wanted to, let's do it, is move my fabric so the underneath has that 1/2 inch. But do you know what? It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to just bring it back to there. Okay, so that's the shape we want, and we know that if we look underneath with our and look at our fabric, we know that that's being covered. I mean, crikey, the pieces are big enough for that. So I'm really happy that both those pieces, let's get rid of that one, are lined up correctly. So I can bring this over now, and if you want to, get hold of your layers and pin them both together. Okay, if you're not confident, because we're going to take this to the machine now. So there's a lot of waffle going on, so but hopefully, let's get my mouse to work, hopefully that's made all these things a little bit clearer. Apart from the fact I didn't use background fabric, but that's my own stupidity. Okay, so this is the piece, and we're going to stitch from the top of this bit of paper down to that bottom piece. I don't want you to worry about going over the line. I don't want you to stop at that line. I want you to go way off. So you can start up here if you want to and can finish here. So let's just get the machine set up. So take your stitch length down to 1.4, 1.5, that type of thing. Keep it, you don't need a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's all done with the line. And I'm going to drop my foot down. Okay, just want to make sure it's lined up. So it did move a little bit. Hopefully it's fine. And this is where perhaps putting a little dab of glue might help. So I'm going to take my pin out, so I just don't like pins near my needles. And I'm going to make sure I've got this lined up, to be fair. I'm going to have a quick sneak. I think I might. It could be better actually, but I'm going to leave it as it is. And then I'm just going to stitch all the way along. And because it's little tiny stitches, it takes ages. Oh dear me. So now I've stitched down that line, you can see. And when I flip this over and I finger crease it, that easily covers that little tiny triangle just there. Okay, easily covers that, you can see. All right, and you're going to flip it over and you're going to finger press it, or you're going to get one, where is it? You're going to get a seam roller like this, and you're just going to do that. Okay, and that'll flatten out your fabric beautifully. Okay, so the next piece, now let me get my mousey. Okay, so here we go. So the next piece, so that's 1, that's 2, this is 3. And the best will in the world, that should have been a different colour, but there we are. I mean, I could actually do a different colour to make it stand out, but I don't think that's the point. The point is the technique, isn't it? If you remember, we need to fold along that line. Well, we've already folded along that line, so it's just going to easily fold. But then you stitched. Okay, well, you've done a perforation, so just tear that back. It actually wants to tear the whole thing because it's so tiny, such a tiny little stitch. And then you're going to fold that back. Okay. Now, what I said to you before is you always have the fold of the fabric on the right. So I'm kind of turning it. So the fold of the fabric, fold of the paper is on the right. All the rest of it is this side. And you can see that I've got an awful lot of waste there. So I'm going to trim that back. You don't have to do that now, but you can. Or you can get your add a quarter ruler and you can trim it with that. You can use your regular ruler and trim it back with that. I just use my scissors. I've just got so used to it now. So it's up to you how comfortable you are. So this is the piece that we're going to cover. So let me get my pencil again. I'm going to draw a line right across here. Okay? And you'll see that's the shape we want to cover. So when you put the fabric underneath right sides together, you want your fabric to cover that up there, and you'll think, oh my gosh, it doesn't look right at all. So we need the fabric for 3. So if we're not sure, because it's been ages now since we since we started this, when you do it, you're going to be so super quick. Let me have a look. So it's the V. It's the letter V we want next. And actually the whole time I did the butterflies, I had those in templates in front of me, the line drawing. So this is V, okay? And once again, you've got two, you've got the left and the right, so you know full well that this is going to fit. You also know that you need right side up. So I'm kind of figuring that's going to be the one, because that's the shape, and that looks awfully like that. So I'm going to put this one to one side. So if I pop that underneath there like that, again, don't forget you've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance on the new piece. Okay, we trimmed the old piece, we've got 1/2 inch seam allowance here. So actually if I leave it like that, I can see straight away that that's covered. So there's the right side of my new piece. This is the shape that I want to cover, and I've got that 1/2 inch. I mean, we can trim it now, we can trim it later, but you know by eyeballing it now that that piece is covered. So I can flip that back, and if I want to, I can pop a pin in. I'm going to, that's my seam line, and I'm just going to pop a pin in just to hold. I'm not sure if I got all the layers, but you can see what I've done. Now then, you might be a little bit daunted by this because you'll think, oh heck, what am I stitching here? Well, you're stitching from here, yeah, down to here. Okay, that's where you're stitching. You're not stitching any further forward. If you do go past that line, it doesn't matter. You can just tear the stitches back or tear the paper back. It's no bother. So we're going to stitch from there out. And if you're not sure of the line, you kind of draw it out. But I think, you know, by now your eye should be in and you should be able to just go like that. So let's go to the machine and do that. Hold on, let's get the side camera in. So hopefully it's making a little bit of sense. I know these things can be quite tricky. So you see the little mark I made? I'm going to put my needle right on that mark. You could do it the other way around. You could go from here out in, but we've got the mark, so I might as well go from there out. Okay, so I'm just going to, let me just lift my needle up again. Oh. Let me just cut that. I just want to move my fabric slightly. There we go. Let's do that. That's it. I'm happy now. Yeah, so I'll put my needle down, put my foot down, and I'm going to stitch right over the line here. Okay, so that's my piece stitched from that mark all the way out there. And what I can do, just to tidy things up a bit, I can just trim that second piece back. Again, you can use your add a quarter ruler if you want. And then when I flip it over, you can see that that piece, I'll just get rid of that thread. Hold on, let me just get rid of that thread. Oh, come on, that's it, that'll do. There's another one there. There we go. You can see when I finger press that back that is exactly what we want. Can you see? Yeah, and that covers that piece easily. Okay, perfectly fine. Okay, so the last piece is the last section I've got left. And this time the fold goes all the way along here. So all I've got to do is fold that back. Don't forget, if you stitched over or stitched near your fold line, you just tear it back. You just tear your paper back, and that's your fold line. And if you wanted to, you could fold that as well. Okay, and all of this can be trimmed. Well, that's quite a long piece, but we can still cut it by hand. Just make sure that your fabric here is sitting correctly. So I'm just going to trim that back. And what I suggest you do is do this in a waste fabric before you even start. And it's not a very good bit of cutting, but that'll do. So I've trimmed it back. So now we've got the last piece. Okay, so let's get rid of the template. Again, we've got two pieces. We've got a right side, we've got a left side. And I'm pretty sure now that it's going to be this one, but we'll have a look at it and see. So this is actually the line that goes along there. And if you look at the, let me get my pencil, if you look at the shape, because you'll be able to see through it, because I can see through my copy paper, so you should be able to see through yours. That's the same shape as that, if I hold it like that, yeah? So this 90-degree angle is the same as that 90-degree angle. So we just need to pop that over the top. Bring it down a wee bit. And that's our piece done. I might be able to go a little bit further over. Hold on. And if you use your scrap, then you can cut your scrap massive if you want. But if you look at this shape, you can see that it matches the shape underneath going up there. Okay, so I'm very happy with that. So that's just going to come over. Just want to get that over a wee bit. Because don't forget you've got 1/2 inch seam allowance on each piece. So we can fold that back. I can get my pin if you're not sure about where you're stitching and keeping your fabric still. Use your pin, and then we're going to stitch along this fold. Now if you can't see that, then draw it in, and you're stitching from there to there. Okay, so let's do that. Now I'm wondering if you think this is useful, or whether you just are totally now confused about the whole thing. I'd like to know, because otherwise, you know, I feel that it's kind of like a waste of everybody's time. I'm going to take the pin out. So all I'm doing is going along that fold line. Nothing complicated. And it's actually a lovely thing to do. I'm just going to go out of my live and back in again on my phone, just to make sure I am seeing all the... oh no, that's wrong. That's it. Oh, I'm getting all the comments now. I didn't get any comments before. So look, so I've gone stitch from there all the way down to here. Okay, and you can... oh look what I've done. See, that's with not concentrating. It's because I was trying to do my my phone. So just bear with while I correct my... and this could easily happen to you, so I don't mind showing you that. So let me just quickly stitch that again. And hold on, bear with. Right, that should be it. Oh good, just saying it's okay. So look, so now I can pull my pieces back. Oh, excuse me. And see where it's not so neat. You can now trim it. And again, like I keep saying, you can use your add a quarter if you want to. I tend, because this is a small project, I tend to cut it down to 1/8 of an inch. And I tend to cut it just with my scissors. But you might still want to use your add a quarter ruler or your regular ruler. And then if we flip that over and finger press it, just ignore all my threads, you'll see that it covers that section completely. Now flip it over like that. I mean, it's absolute perfection. And then you're definitely going to get your rotary cutter now. I'm just going to cut this because I wanted to show you how to make a sari bracelet. My paper has moved, but that's okay. So you're going to trim it back to that outside line. I'm trying to do it and hold the fabric so it doesn't shift. And this process is the same for every single piece section you've got. So the idea of the simple butterfly is exactly that. It should be very simple to make. And then we've ended up with a beautiful section, which, you know, in the right world would have been the right colours, but there we are. You've seen the process, which is what it's all about. And if I lift this up, the one that I made, it's this section here. Okay, but we started off with the opposite section. Oh, I lost the line drawing now, but that's the one we've made. So we've made the right hand side. So hopefully that has helped you if you've bought the simple butterfly pattern. To be honest, any FPP pattern, especially mine, because I have templates, because they're available to me. Okay, so that is that. I hope that was useful. And then what I want to do is show you how to make a sari bracelet. Because that's the fun bit. That's the lesson over with. So I'm just going to get my overhead on my desk. That's okay. Side camera. Oh, we don't need the side camera anymore. Well, perhaps we do. Let me just zoom that out just a wee bit. Bear with while I do that. Oh, that's the overhead. Now I've mucked the overhead up. Bear with. That's it. Okay. Good. Sorry about that. I was doing the wrong camera. Let me just check the side one again. Oh, so sorry. Sometimes I'm such a twit. Yes, you don't need to answer that. Okay. So, sorry. So I'll just bring my stuff up. So I've got a load of sari strips, okay, and I saw something the other day which I'll perhaps talk about in a minute, and I thought, oh, I can do that, and I can show the ladies how to do that. It's dead easy, and it was just a lovely thing that I saw. But as I say, I've got all these sari strips, and sometimes you know, we can use them for all sorts of creative things, but I thought, wouldn't it be fun just to make a bracelet? So we could pick a piece out. So maybe this dark green is fine. And with these strips, they're stitched together. Maybe if you get strips, if you've got sari strips, they perhaps wouldn't be. So just making sure that's long enough. It's about 18 inches, I suppose. Let me just put all the rest on the floor. Now, of course, you can do this with any fabric. It doesn't have to be sari silk, okay? Just so happens I've got a lot. So you could use Liberty fabrics, you could use any of your quilting cottons, to be honest. Okay, so if you've got some piping cord, what you need to do is to have two pieces or one long piece, which you know that's going to go over your wrist, because we want to make something that looks like this. And this one I haven't quite finished yet, because I got rudely interrupted with the weekend retreat. So you can make them like this. So we're going to do one similar to this one, okay? Similar to this one. But if you've got some bits and bobs in your cupboard, you know, in your drawers, then you can make any of these, and you can bead them as well. Let me just try and get them on. That's it. You can bead them as well. And they look really lovely. Right, so to get the right measurement, you want to squidge your hand together like that, and I want you to get 2 times the width of that, okay? So that's 1. That's probably too long, but let's do it like, sorry, being cack-handed. Because I know what my measurement is, so I'm trying to do it so you can find out what yours is. There we are. So that's 1 round, but if I put my finger there, I know that that's enough for 1. Hold on, let me get rid of all this stuff. And then you want it double. So you can either fold it like that, or you can cut 2 pieces, all right? It's 6 and 2/3, and then just cut. So 2... I mean, let's cut it anyway, because that's how I did it before. So 2 pieces of cord. So for me, it's about, I think it's about 9 inches, but yours might be smaller, yours might be a lot bigger. But that's, you want to measure across your knuckles, because that's where you're going to slide these onto. Okay, so you need them to go over your knuckles. And then we need to join them. Now you can just pop them under the machine and zigzag them together like that. But I found that a little bit tricky, I'll be honest. Whether it was just me or I don't know. But I did find that a bit tricky. So what I did was, bear with, I got another piece of sari silk, or whatever, doesn't matter what it is, just a little piece. And I zigzagged, or I just straight stitched those under my machine, and then I brought the other ends round and did it again. So I'm going to do that. So I'm not talking gibberish, and you can see what I'm doing. Get rid of the mouse. Let's move everything. Okay, so those are my 2 pieces, and I'm literally, I mean, this scrap is about, I don't know, 2 inches by 1 inch if you need a measurement. So it's just a scrap, literally. So I'm going to put it under my machine. I'm going to increase my stitch length to regular 2.4, and it doesn't matter if you don't get it quite in the middle, as long as you stitch and attach them to your little rectangle. Okay, so I've gone over the top, I've caught them, going back, and that'll do. That'll do. So look, I've attached it. And very attractive it looks too. And then you're just going to pull your other 2 ends round, and you're just going to stitch those on. Okay, so it looks a bit rough at the minute, but they can go under, and you can stitch them. Okay. Ugh, why does that always go faster? Let's go again, just to make sure. So that has created our bracelet. Look, it's really attractive, isn't it? Okay, so now what you want to do is just to roll that around. To be honest, we need to get rid of these threads. It's not very good having threads everywhere. Roll it around and kind of cover up what you've stitched. And do you know what? You could just pop that under the machine again if you want. Let's just roll it. Don't worry about it being tight or loose or anything like that, okay? Please don't worry. This is literally just a quick way of, let me just refresh my live, a quick way of joining the 2 ends together, okay? So it looks a bit rough. Some of you might get a little anxious about that because it's rough, raw edges, loose threads, all that sort of thing. But that's how we start out. That is really nice and secure now, because don't forget, we're going to shove it over our wrists and we're going to pull it about, and the grandchildren are going to tug it and all the rest. It looks quite nice, doesn't it, with a I haven't finished this. I just thought I'd show it to you. I'd like to think one day I will finish some stuff. Okay. So now we're going to take our piece of silk. Listen, it could be anything. Get some liberty and do fray it. Some of you might not want to, but do fray it, because actually the fraying of this, actually let me go in a bit nearer. The fraying is purple. Ooh, yeah, that'll do. That might go out of focus, and then we've got to wait a minute. That's it. The warp or the weft, I don't know which, is purple. Can you see? So actually the fray bits look quite nice. So all we're going to do is just literally wind this around. So just you could, if you wanted to, put a stitch in that to hold it down, okay, but quite honestly it's not worth it. So you're just now going to weave it around, roll it around, wrap it around, that's it. Now I personally wouldn't bother about straightening out my silk, because this is how it came, sort of all creased, and I quite like that. You may not, you might want this up, because I know some of you like things absolutely super duper tidy. I understand that, that's not a complaint, but I quite like it that it's a bit sort of rough and ready. So my end is coming away there, so we would just want to get hold of it, and you could, if you want to, be careful, you could pop a pin in just to hold it, okay? Just get my finger out of the way, and then just keep wrapping it. Now I said in my post this morning about making sure you have some time out, and this has come to light for me, not just because I've been away on a weekend with the girls, but generally, that it's really important to have a little bit of time for yourselves. Now, how do you do that? Because you're all busy with jobs, with grandchildren, you know, chores, whatever it is. It's sometimes very difficult to find that time. So my idea is this. I want you to have a diary, whether it's electronic, paper. See, my pieces aren't quite right, but that'll be okay. Whatever that is, and I want you to pencil in maybe an hour, half an hour, maybe 2 hours, whatever you feel is achievable, and put it in the diary. This is only for you. This is not for anybody else. This is not for your other half. This is just for you to know when you're allowed to have that time. And this is really important because you need to have a little bit of headspace for whatever reason, whether it's you need half an hour in the garden, whether you need to bake a cake, whether you need to wrap a sari silk bangle. You need a little bit of time for yourself. And as we get older, our hard drives get a little bit full up with stuff, and our brains tend to clatter about with ideas and thoughts and, oh, I've got to do this, and lists, I suppose. Well, sometimes it's good to just throw that list away and find that moment of time. Maybe it is in the garden. Hopefully the weather's going to improve, and you can have 5 minutes sitting in the garden listening to the birds. The video that I did for the quilt behind me had the blackbird singing so fabulously in the background. Oh my word, it's just incredible. And sometimes that's all we need, okay, to get a little bit of inner calm. So I want you to do that. I want you to, it doesn't matter which day, maybe it's going to be, I don't know, Monday morning at 10 o'clock. But whatever it is, I don't want you to tell anybody. I want you just to pop it in your diary, and I want you to stick to it. And it doesn't matter what you do. I'm not saying you should do sewing. I'm saying you should do something. Whether it's going to have a game of golf, whether it's going to the shops and having 5 minutes peace from the other half, the children, the dog, whatever it is. I just want you to find that little bit of headspace. And I want you to think of maybe what you could do the next time. So maybe you could just sit and think about and plan a little task for next time. So for instance, if it is you want half an hour, just half an hour this month, the month of June, to go into the garden and plant a plant that you've been wanting to do for ages, then that's what you're going to do. But what I want you to do is think about planning for the next one. Now, I'm not saying you should plan to the nth degree. Bookmark that half an hour again and think, hold on a minute, half an hour in July, yeah, I can manage that. And actually, there's a little plant that I need to get and plant. And that's for me. It's not for your partner, it's not for your mum, it's not for your children, it's for you. Really important, okay? And then I want you to get the plant at some point, if you can. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a plant. It could be anything. Making a biscuit, or whatever it is. I want you to just do a little bit of prep for that half an hour. And then I want you just to put it back in the diary, put it in the diary, and wait. If in that time you get time to actually do it, oh, bonus, absolute bonus. But maybe life has taken over and you just think, oh, it's never going to happen. Well, it won't unless you put that half an hour in the diary. And put an alarm if necessary. Check your diary every morning. Is it today that I've got that half an hour? Look forward to it. Maybe it's just to drive in your car to the nearest park and just watch the dogs play and the children play, whatever it is. That's what I want you to do. It's achievable, but it's only achievable if you want it to be. So you're going to put it in your diary. Maybe you're not thinking June, no, I can't possibly do half an hour in June. Well, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, actually, I think I can do that for July. So do it for July, okay? But that's what I want you to do. It's vital for your well-being. And I am really, really aware that we're all living very busy lives. Now you saw what I've done. I've just wrapped this lace around, and I'm going to use my glue again, which has gotten a right old pickle over here, just to stick that down. And this glue has got a mind of its own, but it's fab. Yeah, there's lots of other glues, but I particularly like this one. And you're just going to bring that end up if I can. In fact, that can just cross over like that. It's kind of instant, which is nice, and then we can just trim that bit. Yeah, one thing that came out of having that weekend away with the gals, was that I had many hours on my own in the train, just thinking things through. I didn't do any sewing, I just passed the time looking out of the window, looking at all the different landscapes, and I enjoyed that time. I really enjoy. I don't get quiet time. I just absolutely don't. So it was lovely to have that quiet time, and I realised how important it was for me, well, to everybody that is with me, whether it's a friend or a relative. It's important to them that I get that time. So that's why I suggested that's what we do. Anyway, moving on. So this is the bangle. Now, did you see that being made? Me chattering away. Now, obviously, that's not, I mean, it's the same as this one. Okay? They all get a bit squished because they're cord. They sort of, you know, do have their own thing. But you could glam it up and add some sparkly bits. You could add buttons and beads. Seed beads would look amazing. But look, there we go. I've added another one. I think they look lovely. So have a little go, have a little play. Maybe that's your half an hour task in July. Maybe you could make a couple of bracelets. If I move that down, you can see what they look like. They look quite sweet, don't they? Obviously you might want to wear an outfit that kind of matches. Yeah, so there we are. It's as easy as that. You can be as neat as you want or as scruffy as you want. But have a little play, have a little go. It's all good fun. I've taken you right past the hour. I don't think we need to worry about whether it's an hour or not these days, but there we are. So we've learnt how to do the foundation paper piecing. It was a bit like that, but that's okay, because now if any of you have got the simple butterfly pattern, which you know can be that way or that way, you know how easy it is now to do FPP. I hope it helps. And then also, for a little bit of fun, you can make yourself a bracelet. Good. The next time I'm with you, what I want to do is to actually upcycle, if that's the right word, one of these sweatshirts, because I've just recently bought 5 of these, all different colours. They're all a little bit long because this is a man. Hold on, this is a man's sweatshirt, right? So they're a bit long. I don't want to necessarily keep folding them up. You know, you can fold it, but what I want to do is to get some lovely fabric, maybe some Liberty, Tana lawn or something, and put a cuff on and take them up and put a cuff on. And I also wanted to do the same for this. So I'm going to, I might use my cover stitch. So I want to put a kind of like a cuff, a cuff round here and around here, but shorten these a little bit. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do on a live. I don't know, something a bit different. Right, if there's any questions in the comments, I'll have a look. Unfortunately, my comments, all I'm getting is Jackie Grant is watching. Just hundreds and hundreds of Jackie Grant watching. So I'm pleased you're watching, Jackie. Thank you very much for your company. It's always an absolute treat to be part of your evening. I'm very lucky to do what I do, and I'm very appreciative of you all. If you haven't got it already, go get the Helen pattern, because I think that's it's going to be a really useful little make. Don't forget, make one as is, and then see how you can enlarge the pattern. So don't forget, when you do I meant to say this earlier, I can't see myself now. Hold on a sec, let me just get my screen back up. When you put the D-rings in, the D-rings are hidden in the kind of pleats in the fold, so all you can see is your swivel You can't see the D-ring, which means that you can take the strap off, have it as it is, maybe as something that goes inside a handbag or a bag, and you don't see the little D-rings, but you can see they just sit. And I think it shows you on the picture. It just sits neatly in the crease. So that's something important. Well, not important, but you know. So make one as is, then you'll see how it's put together. Then you can enlarge it. Use your phone as your guide, because where you stitch, and you'll know this when you make it, when you stitch you need to get your phone handy so you can measure it, and you need at least ½ inch around your phone when you stitch. Make one in calico and you'll see what I mean. Anyway, it's good value for money. Right, thank you ever so much everybody. I'm going to go and see what John's up to. He's on a telephone call and I need to rush down and find out who's talking to. Right, I'll see you soon. I'm on my holidays now for at least maybe 10 days or so, which is going to be fab. I'm all over the country with the motorhome. So you've got lovely Kath to entertain you for the next couple of weeks. The calendar is in featured, so if you're not sure when we're on and which page we're on, have a look in featured in this page, Creative Friends, and you'll see where we are and what we're up to. Actually, we've got lots of things lined up. So you don't know what we're up to, but needless to say, you'll be well entertained. Actually, there's quite a few things coming up. This is what happens when you have a weekend away with Kath, because we end up business meetings, planning, plotting and scheming. Right, I'll see you all soon, everybody. Bye.